Even the Taurus people, who are like the astrological paragon of stability and predictability, change as they age and mature, and this is exactly what I will be talking about in this third video from the series Adulting by the Zodiac. I am Nadia, the astrologer for people who know how to enjoy astrology without necessarily believing in it. And if the concept of doing astrology without believing in it is new to you, I will link up a video where I talk about it in more detail. But this is the video about Taurus and how they change. And Taurus's birthdays, they fall on the days between the 20th of April and 20th of May, but like with every other sign, the days that fall right outside of this time frame, the 19th of April and the 21st of may also, on some years, in some places in the world, be the days when the sun could have been in Taurus. So if one of that is your birthday, get yourself a natal chart. Just check. You may be thinking that you are a Gemini when you really are not. I'll start with a fat disclaimer. So the planet Uranus, who people with better taste than mine, they call it Uranus. I cannot, for some reason, I always in my mind say Uranus, but this Uranus has been transiting Taurus since 2018 and it is still in Taurus. And Uranus is the planet of radical change or unexpected events or leaps into the future, protest, authenticity, progress, revolutions and such. And while Uranus is in Taurus, it is making the Taurus people more chaotic and unpredictable than they usually are. And Uranus will leave Taurus in 2026, after which the Taurus people revert to the more normal processes of growth and change and development that I am describing here. And just to recap, the process I am describing is connected with the movements of the progressed sun, or like the sun in the progressed chart. So I will also link up a video where I explain this better and longer, but the short version is that your zodiac sign is the sign in which the sun was when you were born, and it is the same thing as your natal sun or the sun in your natal chart. But you don't just have the natal chart that is unchangeable, you also have a progressed chart, which is absolutely the same as the natal chart at the moment of your birth, but after you're born, it immediately starts progressing and changing and developing. And in this progressed chart, the sun is moving slowly from sign to sign, and first it moves through Taurus for Taurus people, then it moves into the next sign, the Gemini sign, and spends 30 years there, and then the next sign, Cancer, and there it also spends 30 years. And out of those three stages, the kindergarten, the school, and the university, how I call it, only the first one can differ by length, because the sun starts not at the very beginning of the Taurus sign, but somewhere along the line, depending on your date of birth. So first comes this simple kindergarten stage when the sun is moving through Taurus. Depending on your birthday, this is the time in your life until which this stage will last. And one of the most important and biggest tasks that a Taurus has to deal with, has to accomplish in this stage, is to learn how to live in their bodies. So Taurus is the first out of three signs that belong to the earth element, and it means that they are really very much connected to the body, and the bodily sensations are a guiding force in their life. And in the life of a Taurus person, this guiding force must be really, really strong. And the way it can go, there are two ways. Unfortunately, you cannot choose. You have to deal with what you have been dealt. You have what you have been dealt. And option number one is a Taurus child may be extremely sensitive to the point of maybe developing some sensory issues almost. So those are the children that need the physical surrounding around them to be just right so that they can feel okay-ish. Like those are the children that have very strong preferences for the type of fabric they would wear, or where the clothes can touch their bodies, or they would only agree to eat food of a certain texture, or have also strong preferences for temperatures and sounds and the environment. Or they may also be able to detect the smells that other people don't notice and be bothered by them. So those like little orchids, right? And then the other option is the more hedonistic little Taurus with a big appetite. And this can be appetite for food, but it can also be appetite for everything that is beautiful or pleasant or valuable, and also very often expensive. And those are the children that are often larger, understandably, if they eat more, and also more cheerful. But both of those options, the extremely sensitive child and the cheerful hedonistic child, they are both great illustrations of the power of the body over the mind, or like the primacy of the physical over the mental. And if it offends your spiritual sensibilities, then I don't know, try working harder or not reincarnating the next time around, or I don't know, what are you doing here? Anyway, in this stage, in this first kindergarten Taurus stage of their developments, the little Tauruses kind of like stumble upon the things that they will be doing sustainably and over a long period of time. So the 12 signs of the zodiac sign, they are divided into 3 modalities, and the modality of Taurus is fixed. It means that they can be stable and reliable, not fickle. And so they start doing things reliably, and those are not necessarily the things that other people want them to do. So they may even be very reliable in doing things that other people do not want them to do, but they do those things anyway in a very stable and reliable manner. And they also develop reliable tastes and habits, and those habits can be quirky, but they're still reliable. You can still get used to it. And through doing things in the physical world in a reliable manner, they also develop a very good practical, almost bodily knowledge of the physical world. It's almost like this knowledge is rooted in their bodies, is kind of like based in reflexes or some kind of like gut feeling, which only comes through practice and deep interaction with the physical world. And this first physical stage ends when the progressed sun moves into the next sign of Gemini and begins the 30-year-long school phase of the development of the Taurus. And depending on your birthday, those are the ages in your life that this second stage will occupy. So at the end of the previous Taurus phase of their lives, the Taurus people have developed a strong relationship with their bodies, with their taste, with the physical world, and they have also gained a reputation of people who are predictable even in their eccentricities. They can be eccentric, but they have to be also predictable. And this makes people pleasant, attractive. So other people want to be around the Taurus person, right? They want to do things with this person. And that leads to a lot of socializing, a lot of commotion, a lot of cultural activity or commercial activity, right? And in the previous phase, the Taurus could also be busy, but this was more like the focused, single-minded type of busy. And in this stage, it's more like this chaotic busy lifestyle with a lot of people, a lot of plans, a lot of events and spontaneity and not a lot of structure. And this can be amazing for young people, and it can be addictive and intoxicating, and it can also lead to success and popularity in like profession or social life. And that is sweet, that is very attractive, that's good for a Taurus. But sooner or later, any Taurus will notice that they just do not have enough time for the more quiet, non-verbal activities that used to nourish them. And that they are, because of that, a little bit out of touch with their bodies and also with this more non-verbal, animalistic side of them, which is important for them and which is an important part of who they are. And they can counteract it a little bit by creating like protected islands of time to get back in touch with this non-verbal animalistic side of them. And that is good, that can support them. But what they need to learn in this second school Gemini phase of their development are actually the more mercurial Gemini skills, such as mobility, for example. So in this stage, the Taurus person may get really into traveling, but they will try to do it in like a mixture of a Taurus and Gemini way. So they would be highly mobile, but they would try to do it with style or with pleasure. So for example, it can be traveling for traveling for work when it is the company that pays for better flights and a hotel, or it can be traveling to the sites of hedonistic attraction, or to the places where shopping is amazing, or to musical festivals and other such locations. Also, Gemini is the sign of two people, and this is the stage of the life for Taurus when they learn how to enjoy doing things together with other people. And those things that they do together and enjoy doing together, of course, they can be things like opening a restaurant or an art gallery, but much easier and quicker would be to just have sex with each other. And at this stage in their lives, sex can become a great source of joy and entertainment for a Taurus, or for some Taurus people also something like a spiritual sacred practice, which does not mean that they will be doing it according to like religious regulations and views of what is moral in sexual relationships. Another thing that Gemini is really connected to is words and thinking and communication. And it's a little known fact, I think, is that this presumably, non-verbal, rigid, uninventive sign of Taurus has actually produced an astonishing number of hardcore, heavyweight thinkers, such as Socrates or Marcus Aurelius or Immanuel Kant or Freud, Marx, Bertrand Russell, or writers like Shakespeare or Nabokov, Thomas Pynchon. So if there was a stage in which Taurus people should want to try to find the correct words and to find the expressions that help them express their thoughts, it is this second school stage, the Gemini stage in their lives. And it is at this stage when a lot of Taurus people get really, really into writing and in self-expression, which is completely acceptable and appropriate for the stage. And this stage ends with the progressed sun entering the next sign, which is Cancer. And with this begins the university stage of their development, which will also last for 30 years. And depending on your birthday, these are the years of your life that it will occupy. So Cancer is the sign of care, and it's a sign of care that is not fussy, because it is sensitive and attentive to the needs of the heart and the body. And at its best, Cancer creates this sort of like an atmosphere or a space of safety and acceptance in which needs can be expressed and also heard. And this is exactly what a Taurus needs after those 30 years of chaotic activity and being pulled in different directions and being distracted all the time. So one of the first things that they need to learn in this Cancer stage is how to take care of their bodies, of the physical bodies. And this is the time when their bodies may actually start demanding care by producing symptoms or like a general sense of, unease, dissatisfaction. And it helps if a Taurus can find some sort of a spiritual meaning in taking care of their bodies at this stage. And the body can really feel like a temple for a Taurus at this stage. And the point here is not to achieve a perfect body or perfect health, right? I think that we can agree that a person who only wants to pray at the most beautiful, expensive temple is probably not very spiritual. So the point is to practice this attentive care and to try to find meaning, spiritual meaning or psychological meaning in it. And yeah, it's great also if they could gently eliminate those habits that have been hurting the body, and just as gently introduce the different habits that are more nourishing for the body. So a great thing about this phase in a Taurus's life is that it is quieter and it is easier to listen to oneself and to one's needs and tastes and preferences. And because of that, the pleasures that the Taurus indulges in at this phase are also becoming more pleasurable. Why? Because, well, I'll put it that way. In the previous Gemini phase, it was okay and appropriate and maybe even good to sometimes do pleasurable things because you want to try it out and see how you like it, or because other people have suggested it, or even to just seem like a more interesting person. But that phase is gone, and now in this third Cancer stage of their lives, the hedonism of a Taurus becomes more self-centered and more precise and more effective, and that is making their lives so much better. Also, Cancer is the sign of the family, and at this stage the Taurus people are also switching from being more socially oriented to being more focused on the family or on this tight group of friends or colleagues that feel like their family. And from this familiar environment they can draw comfort, but they can also provide comfort and be comforting for other people. And this is also the phase where they are looking for this sense of home and generally find it, right? So it's good that in the previous, more chaotic Gemini phase, they have been moving a lot and they have seen so much and they have experienced so much. So now they have a feeling that, okay, I have seen enough. I know a lot about the world and what is possible there, and I know what is good for me. And now that I know it, I'm ready to settle down, to make home, which is what they do, alone or with people that they love. And yeah, that's it. So potentially then, for some Taurus people, when the sun moves into the next sign, begins the new, like, more artistically expressive Leonine stage, but I don't think I have ever seen it in a person that I know personally, so I would just stop here. And also I have learned that as a YouTube talking hand, I'm supposed to actually ask people to subscribe and comment and press the buttons and I don't know, like in the middle of the video, and I'm not doing it because for no reason. I don't know, it feels strange so far, and I will get there. But for now I will just tell you that I get very excited if people like something or subscribe, or even better, write something, because this is like sharing something even more valuable. So if you feel like doing it, do not stop yourself, and see you in the next videos.